the Fade 5 podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons! Brad the Big Noise Evans here, joined by the good son, Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed another edition of the Fade 5 podcast. Monday Night Football. Lundy's Broncos in action, taking on the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park, New York. We're going to have some of that action here momentarily, but maybe we'll have it straight out of the gate. Honk, honk. It's time to hop aboard the Plus Bus. Lundy, what is your favorite wager across the smorgasbord of sports at plus 100 odds or greater that you, sir, are locking and loading?
Well, first of all, I would like to apologize yet again to America for the fact that the Denver Broncos have been placed in prime time.
Why?
I'm very sorry. I feel really bad because, we're really not that good. I mean, we're not really all that good. And by the way, I started to go around and look at some of the different experts that are out there. Brad, everybody is on the Broncos plus 7.5. I'm still trying to figure out why.
Because Captain Hook? Why? I have no idea.
I have no idea why everybody is on the Broncos the way that they are. I'm just going to throw that out there. So you do whatever you want. But I will throw this bet associated with the Denver Broncos right out of the gate on the Plus Bus, and it is because of the discrepancy in the odds. Brad, let's go find number 14 in your program, number 1 in your heart, Courtland Sutton.
Oh, yeah. Anytime touchdown?
Anytime touchdown, but here's why. I'm gonna show you right here. Okay, at BetMGM, Brad, Courtland Sutton, anytime touchdown, plus 100. At FanDuel, plus 160. At DraftKings, plus 165. At Caesars, plus 250.
Oh, my goodness.
Folks, he is plus 100 at BetMGM. He is plus 250 at Caesars. Run, do not walk, run to make a bet on that one. That is one of the biggest discrepancies I have ever seen on an anytime touchdown for any player. Now remember, Sutton has done this in 3 straight games. He's done it 5 out of his last 6. I do not think Denver stands an Ice Cube's chance where at Orchard Park. But with the way he's been scoring, with as many looks as he gets from Russell Wilson when they get to the red zone, the fact that you can get that at plus 250, again, 1.5 times the payout that you can get at BetMGM. That is psychotic, folks. That feels like a massive typo, like some intern hit the wrong button on the keyboard.
Take advantage of the VALUE. That spells value on Courtland Sutton, who has been quite the touchdown machine and could do a little end zone jig yet again, even at garbage time. It all counts the same. Let's go to the professional hardwood, and I like a little SGP action on a singular player in the National Basketball Association, and that being Derek White of the University of Colorado. Really kind of a dark horse in the Pac-12 this season for that sports purposes. But on the senior circuit, I think Derek White gets at least 3 rebounds, and I say Derek White also gets un Blacko, 1 swat into the season against the New York Knicks. You slap those 2 together in an SGP at DraftKings. Oh, cool. Plus 106. Why am I feeling that Derek's going to make me some dollars? Where it's very simple. He's gotten a block, shockingly enough, in 4 of his last 5 games. Yes, a guard has got a block shot in 4 of the last 5 games. He's seen a lot of minutes played, 29.0 to be exact, and he's averaging over a block per contest this season at 1.1. And you look at the Knicks, they have allowed the 5th most opponent block shots per game in the NBA this season. That number sitting at 6.6. Meanwhile, look at the rebounds. He's done this in 6 of 7 games. Yeah, I know the Knickerbockers have allowed the 8th fewest opponent rebounds per contest. But again, a guy that is Johnny on the spot. He gets a lot of minutes. He will careen some of those caroms off the rim. And as a result, we're cashing in on this SGP delight with Derek White, 3+ rebounds and 1 block shot against the Knicks plus 106 at DraftKings. With those bets on the board, let's get after it on this Manic Monday with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
Numero cinco on the countdown today. Monday Night Football all the time. And stick around, folks. I will have some sizzling hot action on the college hardwood in bonus time. It's quite a delightful and very juicy 2-leg parlay. But I digress. On numero cinco here on the countdown with Gabe Davis. And I'm going to take the over on 37.5 receiving yards at a minus 115 juice at BetMGM. I know Gabe Davis makes your stomach queasy because he's been quite the undulated roller coaster ride this season. A guy that's only seen 16.1% of the team target percentage. That's 5.4 targets per game, but a respectable number 30 in yards per target, 8.9. Number 31 in yards per reception at 14 flat. He had a big fat donut in receptions in the last game, but I think he's going to get off the schneid in the matchup tonight. Why? The Broncos are dead stinking last in the National Football League in EPA pass defense. Going to get a lot of Fabian Moreau in coverage, who is giving up a 66.7 catch percentage to his assignments. 4 times this season has Gabe Davis crawled his way over the 37.5, and with Stephon Diggs seeing so much attention, maybe Dalton Kincaid getting more bodies in his direction as well because of his flourishing output here of late. Gabe Davis could see a lot of mano-a-mano coverage, and I think Josh Allen will take advantage, and given his chunk gain upside, you could get more than half of this on a singular catch. So to recap, Gabe Davis over 37.5 receiving yards against those not-so-bucking Broncos. Minus 115 to BetMGM. Lundy, fair to follow.
I'm going to follow on this one, but you're right. He has been a roller coaster ride, and it's been frustrating as hell, especially if you're a DFS guy and you like to pop him into the lineup. If you're a season-long fantasy guy and you've got him on the roster, he has been a bit of a frustration. Now, if you're a Dalton Kincaid owner, this guy right here, you got no problem with the roller coaster ride that Gabe Davis has been on, because to a certain extent, it has actually been Dalton Kincaid that has been a beneficiary of that along with Shakir. But I digress again. I like this number. I could see him popping, what do you think, Brad? Maybe half of it on one catch, and then
that's why I said it, like a 25-yard or something like that. We
give him a 20,
probably need another reception.
Yeah, he's going to need a couple of them, which is why, like, I wouldn't want to mess with his receptions prop. Just because of that. But when he does do it, he can do it in big-time chunk gains. Against Moreau, he should have some success. Just depends on the safety help over the top of how far down he gets going. So take the over on this yardage prop. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of his receptions prop. I'm staying away from that this evening. But yards, all about it.
Big bites, Gabe Davis. Big stinking bites.
Number 4.
Numero cuatro here on the Fade 5 countdown today. Juggernaut Javonte, baby. Crank the REL Speedwagon in the background for the old fans of the Sirius XM radio show when, somebody used to pay me for my voice talking through a microphone back in the day. Anyway, I forgot the T here on the screen. It's not Javon Williams. It's Javonte Williams.
It's Javoni. It's a new type of pasta. You get it with the bolognese. I'd like the bolognese with some Javoni, please.
Well, if you want to, slather in Alfredo sauce, totally fine, because Javonte, that T stands for testicular output, because he's got to have that kind of fortitude tonight as a receiver. Given the over on 2.5 receptions at a plus 114 juice, available there at DraftKings. And yeah, I'll work the shoulders that get seduced by that juice, because that's exactly what happened when I pulled this sucker up this morning. I put together some props for the show. You look at Javonte Williams. He's been over this in 3 of his last 4 games. His snap share is skyrocketing right now. played a season high. It was like, I think it's 70% of the snaps last week. A guy has also run 13 routes in back-to-back games. In those back-to-back games combined, 7 total targets, and he's got a pretty good at 77.3 catch percentage on the year. So Russell Wilson, whether on designed checkdowns or just one spur of the moment, I think we'll find him at least uno, dos, tres times. The Bills have given up 5.6 receptions per game to the running back position. 10 guys at the running back position have reeled in at least 3 passes against Buffalo. And of course, too, unless you're one of those wackos out there that thinks the Broncos are covering this with ease at plus 7.5, they could be playing catch up. And maybe they're playing catch up and score a garbage touchdown that's rather meaningless, and they do score that cover. I think they will deal with a deficit at some point in this game, which will open up Javonte Williams for more route running opportunities. So recap on Javonte, delicious pasta, and it's great with red sauce, Alfredo, maybe a little pesto, sun-dried action if you want to, or Javonte Williams. Take the over 2.5 receptions plus 114 to DraftKings. Lundy, fair to follow.
I kind of I don't want to go crazy because obviously he hit the century mark last night, but I'm kind of getting the feeling that we're seeing some Javonte the way that we're seeing Josh Jacobs. It's kind of like, oh, hey, wait a minute. This guy's pretty good. Maybe we should get him some snaps. It just took Antonio Pierce apparently to be able to get that done. And it took Sean Payton maybe pulling his head out of his overly inflated ego ass.
Yeah.
And finally getting Javonte the ball. Now, I know we're going to talk about another back coming up here on the Fade 5, but you are seeing that snap share. Javonte is healthy. He's running like he's healthy. Our Broncos guy, Cody Rourke here at Mile High Sports, has been watching him in practice. He's been talking to him. The confidence is there, right? You get a guy coming off of an injury. You want to make sure you've got the confidence. Javonte has that right now. So I really like this, and I like them using him out of the backfield. I think this is a smart bet.
Oh, I can't stop that love and feeling. I'm backing Juggernaut Javonte Williams, but through the air.
Number 3.
Numero Trace here on the Fade 5 podcast. Moni in the middle. Where's he at? In the middle. Moni in the middle. That's going to be me on this game. And let me explain on this SGP. Give me the Buffalo Bills at an all spread of -2.5. And this is where the middling comes into the equation. Give me the over on the game total. I'm going to take it down to 36.5. And then I'm going to take it up all the way to 56.5 and slam that under. So in other words, I believe the game total points has got to finish between 37 and 57, and the Bills covering on that alt spread at -2.5. All 3 of those events occur. You're looking at a very spicy plus 150 there at BetMGM. You look at the Buffalo Bills. They have actually done the over-under middling in 7 contests this season. So generally speaking, they're right there in that range of 37 to 57. And they've covered the spread, though, only one time on that alt line of -2.5. But even if you are a fan of the Denver Broncos at plus 7.5, I think the Bills will win this thing by at least a field goal boot from the leg of Tyler Bass. You look at the Denver Broncos, they are 3-3 on the over hitting and the under hitting as well. So being right in the middle just 2 times this season. Let me correct myself. The Bills have covered the 2.5 on that alt spread in 5 games this year. So the 5-4 ATS against that. So to put it all together, again, Buffalo, I feel, is going to win by a field goal. And again, this game is going to be, I feel as well, in that 37 to 57 range, something like 27 to 20 maybe. And shiver me timbers. And that comes in and actually shows up. Then you're going to score some booty with the Broncos. But I feel a little safety first, taking that line down and squarely landing in between those 2 numbers and the over and the under. Plus 150 at BetMGM. Lundy, you willing to ride with me on this one? Fade or follow?
Well, the over part always scares me because it's a freaking primetime game.
It is, but it's a low number, man. It's only 36.5.
Yeah, but Look, I needed the over at 29.5 last night, and I got freaking hosed.
You said Jets and Raiders. They don't have any offenses. Aiden O'Connell and Zach Wilson. Come on, man.
They're going to kick field goals, Brad. That's what you need. By the way,
they did a lot of that last night.
By the way, our over on Greg Zuerlein, folks, that is an auto freaking bet right now. Brad and I have featured him here on the pod before. If Greg Zuerlein is playing, take the over on his made field goals, because that freaking ticket is cashing left and right. I think it's the only ticket I cashed last night, to be honest with you. But yesterday was look, we had to take our dog to the ER on Saturday. I mean, he's got the cone of shame going right now. It was a real cluster F of a weekend. Okay. And then, 28.5, 29.5, you get no, it was just, I don't even know. I don't know why I bother. You want to play the middling game? You go right ahead. But I will tell you, the over on the 36.5, you watch, we'll get hosed just because of the fact that it's a primetime game. Love the under, because that's what the primetime games are all about, is the under. There are no points being scored. The tables will be broken in Buffalo. Points, more of a struggle.
Lundy, I vehemently disagree, and I am going to be licking my balls unlike your dog's ability to do so right now when I cash this SGP.
Don't do that.
Number 2.
Numero dos here on the Fade 5. Yes, you are. Yeah, I'm about to do it with my legs, baby. Yeah, girl. Mr. Unlimited is back. Russell Wilson. I don't care about the arm action. I care more about the wheels. Give me the over. 19.5 rush yards. A pretty light juice there at FanDuel, where I pulled this at a minus 110 juice. Some of the books got this as high as 21.5, and I'd still play the over. I think he's going to be flirting with 25 ultimately in this game. You look at the Buffalo Bills, number 20 in the NFL, an EPA rush defense. They've really fallen off in some of their trench D here of late. Now, only a couple of quarterbacks have gone over this number against them. Trevor Lawrence did it, and Tyrod Taylor also did it, giving up just 13.4 in over the entirety of the season. Rushing yards per game to the quarterback position, but the Bills are number 7 in the NFL in pressure rate, turning up the heat on 26.7% of opponent dropbacks. And Wilson, he's been over this number in 4 of 8 games. He's averaging close to 4 rush attempts per contest, and he's averaging over rush yards per game at 25.1, the number needed, which is a flat 2-0 on this one. And again, I'd still take the over on the 21.5. So to pull it all together, Russell Wilson over 19.5 rush yards, minus 110, available at FanDuel. Lundy, fade or follow.
One of my favorite bets for this evening, because it has been consistently cashing. He's taken off. He's scooting down the field. He's buying himself some time. And frankly, defenses are having to play him a little bit honest. So I'm with you on the idea of trying to take it at, even if it's at 21.5, which, as you pointed out, is where it is at DraftKings right now. 19.5 is the number that I snagged. Same kind of bet that you did, but I would do the 21.5 because I'm with you. I think he's going to be at 25 plus by the time this game is done. Take advantage of it. This is a good opportunity. Like I said, for me, this is my number 1 bet.
Don't slide too early. Don't slide too early, Russell. We need to cash.
Number 1.
Numero uno here on the Fade 5 podcast. My top play of the Monday Night Football game is Jaleel McLaughlin. A little bit of a shocker special. He's surprised by that name. I'm taking the over 15.5. All I need is 16 rush yards. Minus 110 juice there at FanDuel. It's a plus odds right now on a little bit higher total of 17.5 at DraftKings, BetMGM, and some of the other books. And I would still slam that over. I think he's going to run for at least 20 yards in this game. Why am I so confident? Look, I understand that his snap share is shrinking right now. He's seeing around 14 to 16% of the snaps played here in the last couple of weeks, but Sean Payton loves this kid because he's got a ton of juice. He's got bottle rockets slapped on the cleats there, and they are ablaze, and he takes off in any given game, usually getting 4 to 6 rush attempts per contest. I mentioned the struggles, the Bills up front defensively. Again, number 20 in EP rush D. They're giving up 4.62 yards per carry and 88.3 rush yards per game in the running back position. 11 RBs have gone for this number against them this season. And you look at McLaughlin, a guy that is just dynamite in the advanced metrics. Number 5 in yards created per touch. Number 2 in yards after contact per attempt. And get this, Lundy, this is gaudy. This is downright obscene. Slap the explicit lyrics on the front cover when I say this number. 37.8 missed tackle percentage. That is galactically good for Jaleel McLaughlin, who's been over this number the last 5 straight games. And again, all I need is basically 4 to 6 rush attempts, and I think he crawls over it. So to recap, Jaleel McLaughlin over 15.5 rush yards, -110 at FanDuel. Lundy, my top play of the day. Fade or follow?
Oh, God, I really want to fade this one because I'm worried about his snap share if Javonte gets going. That's my problem with it. If Javonte
he's going to be sprinkled in. I know he will.
I know that he will. I know he will be sprinkled in, but I just get nervous about the idea if Javonte's rolling that Peyton's just going to ride that pony as long as he possibly can. That's what he does. So I will follow on this one because I think it's a low enough number, but I think he's just barely going to creep over this. I got to be honest. I think this is going to be a Javonte night in terms of the workload unless something happens and he gets banged up.
My Slow Chamber special day is Jaleel McLaughlin over 15.5 rush yards, but we're still wielding the heavy equipment because we got the NBA, we got college basketball, we got the NHL, maybe some additional Monday Night Football wagers. It's bonus time. Lundy, what do you got for me on this action-packed Monday?
Well, I apologize to everybody because you got a Monday night game that's kind of like meh because it involves the Broncos. But there's also only 4 NBA games and 2 NHL games. So you're pretty much stuck with Monday Night Football outside of the college hoops that I know Brad's going to get to in a minute. Brad, I'm all about Dalton Kincaid tonight. The Broncos are terrible against tight ends, and Josh Allen can eat a zone defense apart. He just can. So let me give you a handful of props that I like associated with Dalton Kincaid. Let me start here. Give me the over on 18.5 for his longest reception, which sits at -125 over at DraftKings. Again, the Broncos are susceptible there, and I do believe from a secondary standpoint, they're going to have to focus on Diggs, they're going to have to focus on Davis, and that's going to leave Kincaid open because here's the thing. Even teams that don't have Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis on the outside are eating the Broncos with their tight ends. It's just the way that it is. And unfortunately, the Bills are just as susceptible to the tight end. It's just that the Broncos don't have one. So anyway, Dalton Kincaid over on 18.5 for his longest reception. I like Kincaid. Honestly, I did this bet, actually, I think, like Saturday evening. I'm going to play the plus odds for Kincaid to go over 5.5 receptions. I know that's a bold number, but I'll take it at +105 because I think he's good for 5, and therefore I'll play the plus odds on the opportunity that he gets to a half dozen. I think they're going to see holes in this Broncos defense. I think they're going to take advantage of it. I think that's what Josh Allen will do. So I'll take it. I got that at +110. I think it's down to +105 now, but I took it at +110 earlier this week. Same game parlay for Dalton Kincaid. Give me 5 or more catches and 50 or more yards. That is a -105 at BetMGM. And then if you want to have some fun, an anytime touchdown is at +180. By the way, best odds are over at FanDuel. I think Josh Allen throws a pick in this game, Brad. I just think he will. He's been mistake prone. But if you really want to get crazy, because that thing is juiced up, it's +210 for both of them to throw a pick. What do you think?
Wow,
Brad. You think
entirely doable. Russell's may come late as they're in catch-up mode.
Yeah,
that makes a ton of sense. You might have to sweat this out, but
I think Allen's good for 1. And so I was sitting there going, well, how could I have fun? So I sprinkled just a quarter unit bet on that at +210 for them both to throw an INT. Let me go over to, let me see here. Where do I want to go next? Oh, let's go to the National Basketball Association, Brad, the NBA. I told you it's not a great slate tonight. It's only 4 games. But let me lock and load to this one for you. First of all, give me the over on 33.5 on the PRA for Scotty Barnes. Folks, he's averaging over this number so far this season, and he's taken on a Washington squad where he did not do this last season, but this is not the same Washington squad that we had last season. This is a team that's getting blitzed. And so give me the over on 33.5 for Scotty Barnes. I will tell you this. Some of the books have already bumped this to 34.5. I would still play it. Here's a 4-leg alt points. All right. I told you there were 4 games. I picked one guy from each of the games. Give me Kristaps Porzingis for 15 or more. Give me Pascal Siakam for 15 or more. Give me Giannis for 20 or more. And give me Evan Mobley for 10 or more. Real quick. Porzingis 15, Siakam 15, Giannis 20, Mobley 10. If all 4 of those guys hit those thresholds, that's a plus 140 over at DraftKings without any kind of boost or anything like that. I'm taking all of their numbers and bringing them down, but in terms of scoring in those games, each of those guys has favorable matchups. I'm not going to waste your time trying to break it all down, but that's a 4-legger that gets you to a plus 140. And then there are only 2 games in the National Hockey League this evening. Let me give you a couple of bets on those. First and foremost, Edmonton has made a change with their head coach. Chris Knobloch is in. That's because they started the season 3-9-1, and that's when you make a change with your coaches in the NHL. The NHL doesn't mess around, man. It's not like the NBA or the NFL. If you're sucking on the ice, they will switch out their coaches so fast. In the NHL, they've already done it. So Edmonton, their first game under their new coach, it is at home against the Islanders, and it's time for Connor McDavid to wake up. So I will take him for an anytime goal at a plus 105 is where you can snag that one. And by the way, it started at plus 100 this morning. It's actually gone up, which makes no sense to me. But I will take McDavid for an anytime goal. This is Edmonton's chance to be able to shake the Etch-a-Sketch and start over. And then Colorado will be on the road to take on Seattle. This is the 3rd time already that they have played Seattle this season. And remember, this is the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. Colorado is a hot freaking mess right now, folks, which means my bet has nothing to do with the Avs. I'm going to go over to the defensive side of Seattle and take Vince Dunn, but not for a point. If you want to take him for a point, it's minus 125. Go right ahead. I'm going to take him specifically to have an assist in the game tonight. In the previous 2 games against Colorado, he's got 3 assists, including last Thursday, where he had 2 against Colorado in the loss. So Seattle scored 3 goals and Dunn had the apple on 2 of those 3. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the assist. And right now over at Caesars, plus 113 for him to have an apple this evening. So again, anytime goal for Connor McDavid, an assist for Vince Dunn of Seattle. Because again, light slate for you this evening. But that's what I've got. Again, I hope Denver's defense, the defense that we've seen recently, shows up, because otherwise tonight's going to really freaking suck. I yield the floor to the gentleman from Illinois.
It could be a snore fest, but there are reasons why we have to gamble to enjoy it, baby, on the Team Huevos Parlay Play of the Day on Monday Night Football. Leg numero uno, give me the Bills straight up there on the money line. Leg numero dos, give me Josh Allen, 2 or more pass or rush TDs. That's a variety there. Leg numero tres, Russell Wilson, 1+ pass or rush TD. Leg numero cuatro, Samaje Perine, not going to whiz down his leg, 10+ receiving yards. And leg numero 5, Juggernaut Javonte Williams. Again, I like the catches on 2.5. Let's take it down. Take Captain Hook out of the equation there. 2 or more catches. All 5 of those legs hit. You're looking at, gets seduced by the juice there at plus 230 at BetMGM. I already gave you all the reasons why I like Buffalo to win straight up tonight. Josh Allen, I believe this is, he has done 2 or more passing or rushing touchdowns combined in all but 1 game this year. And again, the Broncos are dead last in EPA pass defense. Russell Wilson has done this 1 or more pass/rush TDs in a game in all but 1 contest as well this year. And then Samaje Perine, he has gone over 10 receiving yards in every single contest this year. That is his specialty, especially in like the hurry up 2-minute drill style offense for Denver is coming in and catching a lot of checkdowns or design screens. I just need 1 to pop for 10 yards, and we cash on that leg. And then Juggernaut Javonte Williams, 2 or more receptions. Again, he's ran at least 13 routes of back-to-back games. He has hit the over on 3 or more receptions in 3 of his last 4. So plus 230 at BetMGM on that Team Huevos Parlay Play of the Day. All right, as promised, college basketball, some more juicy action there on this two-legger. Parlay play numero dos. Give me the St. John's money line taking on Michigan Wolverines at the Garden. And then give me Xavier at a very hefty and balloon line in West Lafayette against Purdue at plus 17.5. Those two legs hit. You're looking at plus 235 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Why do I like St. John's? It's Rick Pitino. It's going to be probably a near capacity crowd there at Madison Square Garden in New York City. You're taking on Michigan, who may or may not have Juwan Howard back on the sidelines. I know Michigan has been fiery on the floor offensively the first couple of games this year. That's why they are number 10 in effective field goal percentage offense, but they rank number 240 in three-point percentage D. So Jenkins and Ledlam from outside and some of those sharpshooters from St. John's, I think are going to be the difference. They are netting 50% from distance. That's right, folks. 50% from distance so far this season. So the three ball, the Rainmakers will push the Johnnies over the top, and they will score the win. Meanwhile, with Xavier, Usman is going to have to show up. He's 6'10". You're going against Zach Edey. You know how good Edey is. Even if you double, triple team him, he's going to kick it outside. And one of the sharpshooters from Michigan State, from Purdue, is going to be able to knock it down. And that is an area of concern. That's why the Boilermakers are certainly boiling over right now. Number 5, EFG offense. Number 6, EFG defense. Beating Samford by 53 and then following up with a 30-point win against Morehead State. But 17.5 against Sean Miller's Musketeers. They're going to shoot better from outside. They're only at 27.5% from along the arc, but very stout defensively, evidenced by their number 20 ranking EFG defense with their easy wins against Robert Morris and Jacksonville so far this year. So plus 17.5 for the Muskies, and St. John's will win on the money line plus 235 there at FanDuel Sportsbook. Elsewhere, bonus time. Give me Dalton Kincaid to score a touchdown at plus 210. I can't believe it's plus 210 for all the reasons that Lenny mentioned. One of those receptions could come and splash for 6, whether it was Dawson Knox earlier this season or more recently Dalton Kincaid. Josh Allen only has eyes for the tight end near the goal line, so it wouldn't be all shocking if he splashed.
Where did you get 210? I had 180. Where did you get 210?
BetMGM earlier today.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Because I got him at plus 180. Folks, he's had 26 targets and 23 catches in the last 3 weeks. Good. That's why I like him for the receptions prop and all of that, man.
Yep.
All right. Sorry, I had to sneak a peek there where you had to look up your skirt. Where'd you get that 210? Damn.
Yeah, it's rather arousing. I mean, that's a really good prop right there. And so is this one.
I'm writing this down.
We'll write this one down too. Will Lutz is going to boot a couple of balls through the uprights. Give me the over 1.5 field goals made for the Broncos at plus 120. He's done this in 4 of 8 games. He's in 86.7% of his field goal attempts. 3 guys have done this against Buffalo. Again, they're reeling right now defensively. Number 18 in total EPAD. And Denver just middle of the pack. And red zone touchdown only percentage at 53.6. So a lot of drives will bog down. They're going to move the chains, though, in this game and give Lutz a couple opportunities to get those field goals through. So plus 120 on that. And then last and certainly not least, Josh Allen. I'm taking the under on rush yards. The number has crept up to 34.5. I think it's a wee bit too high. I think he's going to be right around 30 in this game. I know he has crushed this in back-to-back contests, eclipsing 40 yards in those games with the Broncos, number 30 in the NFL in pressure rate at 16.3%. Yeah, they've really struggled in rush EPAD, but they have not allowed a quarterback to go over this number yet, giving up 18.3 rush yards per game of the position. Allen has only been over this number 3 times this year, so I think he's just under 34.5 rush yards, minus 115 juice at DraftKings on that one. All right, we are out of time, and I am certainly out of breath. Do us a favor here with the Fade 5 podcast. If you enjoy this little show, give us a little rating and a review, which kindly helps us out tremendously, and give us a thumbs up, or I'm going to stick it up my butt. there at YouTube if you're consuming the visual version. And it looks like that from Lundy when I say grotesque things. Also, fade or follow us.
You said you were going to lick your own balls.
I got to cover all the bases. I can finger up the butt, thumb preferably, and then I'll lick my own junk. There you go.
I hope anybody that we're talking to about sponsoring this podcast is not watching this one.
I think I think we may need something to dip ourselves in to clean us of those
like
issues.
Hot fudge, or I mean, where are we going with this here?
Well, hey, I'm always down with a chocolate fountain. So Outback or one of those steakhouses that's out there. You know what I'm talking about. Golden Corral, they have those back in the day.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Later, follow us. I'm trying to get to it on the X or the Twitter. Lundy and all's free spreadsheet picks at Nate Lundy. I do the same thing at Noisy Huevos. For the more mature Nathaniel Lundy, I am Brad Evans. As always, until next time, fade or follow. That is up to you. Go Broncos.